I wrote in my piece, "The Lockdown is a PSYOP," that I had no real intention or desire to scrutinize the what I call the reptilian mindset, the mindset of the ruling class, the way that they behave, the way that they believe themselves to be of a different species, basically, than the rest of humanity, and the way that they tend to see the rest of humanity as nothing, as slaves, as cattle, uh, as things to be exploited and used up and culled when necessary. I still don't have much desire to revisit that entire notion, which is explored a lot in my short book "Conspiracy, Compliance, Control, and Defiance," which I wrote in 2015. But this interview with Maria Farmer, that was conducted by Whitney Webb, which I very much recommend. I'll give the link here if you haven't already watched it. She goes and names some names. She talks about some people and how she was treated by these people. She was a student at an art college, and eventually she got hooked up with Jeffrey Epstein. Basically she got pimped out to Jeffrey Epstein by this. I don't know if she was the head head of the board. She was some powerful figure at the New York Academy of Art named Eileen Guggenheim. Uh, and I don't know what her title was at the time. I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, she's still the chairman of the board there, in spite of everything that's been said about her and how culpable she clearly is. How she knew Jeffrey Epstein and was cronies with him and hung around with Ghislaine Maxwell and all of that grisly lot. So anyway, I want to just play a little bit of. Oops. I wanted to play just a little bit of this video and then pause it and look at some of the people that she's talking about. Now, I will be pausing the video to talk about some of these people. If you want to watch the video without pausing it, watch the video, and I will give the link. I don't want to hear anybody complain or bitch about how I'm pausing it too much, and why don't I just let it play? If you want to watch the thing, then watch the thing. But this video is about some analysis of the thing. So, with that just said, because there's always some people who bitch about that kind of stuff. And so I just wanted to clear that up beforehand. All right, so we're starting at close to the 50-minute mark. And again, Maria Farmer is talking about her life as a young woman, as a student at the New York Academy of Art, under the sort of, well, in a way, just the enslavement of this woman, Eileen Guggenheim, who had her do menial tasks for her all the time and sent her off to do things and pimped her out, as we will see. Anyway, let's play it.
A bunch of people. I called everyone I knew. I called Eileen Guggenheim. She was the dean of students of my graduate school.
So here she's talking about how she was at Les Wexner's mansion, was basically being kept a prisoner there, and how nobody would let her go anywhere, and she felt like she was and she found out that her sister had been kidnapped and thought that she was in danger of being raped or killed, and she was just in a panicked state. She feared for her own life. All this kind of stuff was going on, and she calls Eileen Guggenheim first, or she calls a bunch of people. She tries to call the sheriff's department in town. Apparently, they're all in the back pocket of Les Wexner, so they're not going to be help. They're not going to help her. Again, this is all according to her. This is her testimony. And then she calls Eileen Guggenheim, and this is what happens.
And I told her what happened, and she said, I said, I think Annie might be dead. This is horrible. I thought my sister had been murdered. And she said, well, you must have done something wrong.
What? Oh my gosh.
That's what Eileen Guggenheim, I hope you make that quote in your book. She said, well, you must have really done something wrong. That woman hung up on me after that. And the only time I saw her after that was, so I just gotten out of graduate school, you know.
Okay, so she calls this woman Eileen Guggenheim and says, my life's in danger. I fear for my sister's life." And you know, and so forth. And this is Eileen Guggenheim had supposedly uh, let her be supposedly an artist in residence at the Wexner home, but it had all gone sour after she got there, and she was treated like a prisoner and not even fed very much, and eventually got got so upset with what was happening to her that she started to complain, and then that was when she felt that the bodyguard was going to take her somewhere and kill her, and she was locked in. And I know it sounds crazy. If those who are uninitiated to all of this, I know it sounds crazy, and I would have thought it was crazy just a short time ago. But anyway, she calls her supposed mentor, her supposed benefactor, at the school, Eileen Guggenheim, really her pimp, and she tells her this, and according to her, what Eileen Guggenheim says is, well, you must have done something wrong. That must be why your sister is kidnapped. That must be why they're threatening to kill you. Incredible. So, who is Eileen Guggenheim? First of all, I want to show this. This is Under the Tuscan Sun, Eileen Guggenheim. And so there are all these pictures, and there's the gallery of her looking, the dress she's wearing, the shoes she's wearing, the designers, and also there's information about her beautiful Tuscan home, 12th century farmhouse. This is a story in Harper's Bazaar from 2013. Um, and there's some text to it as well. But anyway, I'll provide the link to that text. For some reason, it's not showing up right now. But Eileen Guggenheim revives a charming farmhouse in the Italian countryside. So she's this so glam figure. This high mucky muck at this art school, New York School of Art, who is running with the likes of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and knows people like Les Wexner and so forth. And here are some pictures of her. So there's her country home. Again, there's her in her country home. There's some pictures of her with some actors. Let me see if I can go back here. All right, there it is. There's Liev Schreiber. There's another one with her and Naomi Watts, the actress. Oh, there's her with Bill Clinton. Isn't that wonderful? And there's her with Naomi Watts. So she hobnobs with all these famous people. And she's the kind of person who, when a girl calls you frantic, feeling that her life is in danger, you tell her, well, you must have done something wrong. But what the world shows us of her is this fabulously glamorous woman who lives this charmed life and has this beautiful home in Tuscany and knows all these famous people. Isn't that just wonderful? All right, continuing with Maria Farmer's account.
the dean. She's still the president of the board.
President of the board. That's her
The
title.
year before that, Eileen Guggenheim called me and said, "Hey, Maria, I need you to move to London. I was visiting my family at home in Arizona. She goes, I need you to move to London and go to live with Cy Twombly. You're going to be his lover. So he's going to call you right now." And I didn't even get a word out.
Okay. Again, pausing for a second. She got a call, again, according to Maria Farmer, she got a call from this woman, this Eileen Guggenheim, this rich, glamorous woman who again, I can't remember what the title is. She has some kind of title at the New York Academy of Art, and she calls her at home and says, "I need you to go to London, England, and visit Cy Twombly." Here he is, Cy Twombly, and wants you to be his lover. And so here he is. Edwin Parker Cy Twombly was an American painter, sculptor, and photographer. Right, famous painter. I don't know about that, though. That doesn't look... it's one of those things where, well, my kid could do that, right? But that's modern art for you. But anyway, whether he's a good artist or not is not really the issue, not really the question. What I find so astounding about this, about Maria Farmer's account, is that she gets this call from Eileen Guggenheim and says, "I need you to go to London and be the companion of Cy Twombly, the artist." Like, that's just something you do. Like, that's just something you call people up and tell them to go and prostitute themselves, to this famous artist because he's famous, or whatever the reason. Maybe she owed him a favor or something. Just treating a person like she's a pawn. And again, this is all in plain sight. This is not something, happening on the street. We know that there are pimps and there are people who use and exploit other people. We know that happens. But we're talking about among the highest level people, maybe not the highest level, and certainly not the highest level as far as quality of people, but you know what I'm saying, as far as their status goes. So let's just hear a little bit more of what Maria Farmer has to say about this.
Her boyfriend, Whitney. I'm like, what is going on? And I'm not like a loose person,
Yeah.
So strange. So this man calls me. He's dead now, but he calls me from London, this weirdo, and he's like, "So Eileen Guggenheim told me that you would be willing to come here and you'll be my life partner." And I'm like, "No, I will not."
And by the way, checking Cy Twombly's bio, you can check it out for yourself. He's married. He was married, but that didn't matter. And Maria Farmer's a young a girl in her 20s. This is an old established artist, and of course, it's just her place to pimp her out. I mean, she just talks to her like it's no big thing. It's just what you do. It's how, when you are somebody who is among this group, among this crowd, who runs in these circles. People who are not in these circles, people who you believe to be lower than yourself, are just there to be used up and thrown away. And it's just so, again, I want to just emphasize how striking this is. This is, when I talk about reptilian behavior, cold-blooded behavior, behaving as without empathy, behaving towards other people, as if they weren't people deserving of human respect. these are some specific instances of this type of behavior. And again, this seems to be so common among this high-ranking group of people, these so-called elites, right? That I've titled "Our Reptilian Rulers," somewhat jocularly, but also somewhat aptly. All right, so let's continue to listen for a couple more minutes here.
I mean, I hung up on that. He's like he's a very famous artist. I don't know. I'd never heard of him. But I looked him up afterwards, and I was like, God, that is the creepiest thing I've ever heard. She's a pimp. She tried to pimp me to a man named David Schaefer. She tried to pimp me to, have you heard of John Paulson, JP?
Okay, so she names, was it John Schaefer and, or something Schaefer and John Paulson? Those are two real people, affiliated. Well, Paulson is a financial kind of person, high level financier. But Schaefer is also another artist. I'm not going to show you his page now, but you can look him up by his name, and you'll see he's real too. But I want to skip ahead a bit here to one. I want to get to one more person that she mentions.
John Paulson, he's a billionaire.
Sounds familiar.
He created the financial crisis with
yeah.
He was the 2008. He's the only one who benefited. He and Alan Greenspan are buddies, But JP was a good friend of mine, and I met him through Eileen because she tried to push him on me. But instead, he helped me start a company, and he was actually very honorable. But then I found out he created the financial crisis. I'm like, oh, crap, he's not that great. But that was like my one nice acquaintance at the academy. But she tried to pimp me to all these people.
Again, that's just not normal, right? That's just... Anyway, I've made my point, but skipping
Well, I was
ahead.
a student. So here's the thing. There's a guy and I'm only telling you this very quickly because it's so disturbing. She sent me, there was a Halloween party the first night at the New York Academy, first year I was there. And she said, hey, will you go across the street and get Christian Vincent? He's an artist that lives across the street. And I'm like, okay. She said, we can't reach him. Go over there and get him. And we had been to his apartment before because Eileen had taken me there to see his art. So I ring the doorbell, and he was waiting for me. And he tried to rape me, Whitney. He shoved me onto the sofa and suffocated my face with his mouth. And he had like 17 locks on his door. And luckily he got a call, and I disassembled some of these locks. Anyway, I heard official all about this the next day. And they fired the woman who sent me over there. But Eileen was never held accountable. She's just unscathed by all of it. And the reason I worked for Jeffrey Epstein at all was because Eileen's sister is...
Okay, so she's named some more names there, but I don't want this to go on too much longer. It's all really interesting, really worth listening to. But this last person she talked about, Christian Vincent, he was a little bit harder to find, but again, notice how she mentions him just sort of offhand, like, oh yeah, well, he was this artist in residence at the time, Christian Vincent, he was there, and she sent me over to his place. We'd been looking at his art earlier in the day, and here's some pictures of Christian Vincent and his art. And here he is. I guess this is the guy. Right there. Over here. Sorry about that. That must be Christian Vincent. Maybe we should just... he's the only guilty party. I don't know if we need to show the rest of the family there. Though this is right out there on the internet. You just have to type in the name Christian Vincent artist, and this comes up. Again, in this case, it wasn't a pimping out. It was like it wasn't a pimping out to be someone's life partner. It was like I'll send you over there so that this artist can have his way with you. And again, it's her testimony. To me, she doesn't sound like she's making any of this up, but It is her. Maybe we should hear these other people's side of the story. Most of them, the Cy Twombly, the other guy, the other artist that she tried to pimp her out to, allegedly is dead now, so he can't answer to this. Eileen Guggenheim has not been asked about this, as far as I know. There's a little bit of momentum to try to call her to task for some of the things that Maria Farmer has called her on the carpet for, but she's still head of the board of the school, apparently. And now here's Christian Vincent, and I'd never heard of him before. But here he is. Here's his painting. He's a better painter than the other guy, I think. But here he is with Perry Gilpin. Maybe she's somebody that I'm, supposed to know. I don't know. Again, she just she sends her over there, and the guy, jumps her, and nothing comes of it. Nothing. It's clearly, it was clearly the plan. It was another act of pimping her out to this guy who's in the upper echelon, because he's an artist who's made it, and so they're making this girl pay her dues by making her do not only menial tasks, but also trying to pimp her out and trying to, in this case, get her raped again, allegedly. But I'm just, the only reason I'm dwelling on all of this is because it's just really astounding, again, just to talk about this stuff. To talk about, again, Eileen Guggenheim, and how she allegedly, how she and all these other people just treated Maria Farmer as if she were just a thing to be used up and thrown away. And again, my overarching point is, this is a cultural thing. This is how they behave. This is the way these people are. This is the attitude that they have. And they don't, in their minds, they don't think they're doing anything wrong, because they're the elite. They're the ones. They're allowed to behave in this way, and the rest of the human population, these are the kind of people who want to, kill off 95% of humanity, like they say at the Georgia Guidestones. Again, I know people watching this who might just be catching this and aren't initiated into what I'm talking about. I understand how it sounds crazy. It sounds just nutty. But it's not. I wish it were. I truly wish it were. Something's got to be done about these people. Something has got to be done. They need to be stopped. That's all I'll say about it. Thanks for watching.